What would it take for you to start an OnlyFans, Mike?
I mean, what would be posted on the OnlyFans?
I mean, that'd be up to you.
Full frontal.
So I'd have to be down really bad, and there would have to be a significant demand for it.
There's significant demand for a Flight Mike OnlyFans.
We're not doing this, man.
Who knows, man? You could become a sex symbol for YouTube, for NBA YouTubers.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Laced Up Podcast.
Are we being trolled right now, Mike? What the fuck?
Can I walk off right now?
Put that on a poster. Whoa! No, now it's just an all-star game right now.
You're such a bully!
You don't deserve LeBron James, all right? It's insane.
And you deserve exactly what happened in Chicago over the past decade.
So how'd you and your ex-girlfriend break up?
Bro!
Kidding.
Was it because you were bad at basketball?
Yeah.
Yes!
Lob from Zion, a trailer, and the one-handed flush.
I will lie to you and smack you. Yo, what the hell?
I get called out for my fandom. I get called a schmuck.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Laced Up Podcast, where Lonzo Ball just took it to LaMelo Ball. I'm here with my two co-hosts.
Coop, he's talking to you.
I thought. Wait, I'm two, or
My
wait,
two
no,
co-hosts.
No.
I'll
Like,
be
you-
two. It's
makes
cool.
sense.
It's cool. I'll be two. It's cool. I'll be two.
I said my two co-hosts, not numbers 2 and 3.
No, yeah. No, I understand that. I'm saying I take the place of two co-hosts. So
Oh,
Well,
okay.
here's the.
I'm just
all right,
that
can we
substantial.
Can we take a moment to acknowledge the fact that Mike just came in here and started flexing the fact that his team just defeated a rebuilding team by 14 points? Like
Rebuilding?
We're not-
Charlotte Hornets are not rebuilding. What the?
that takes
Oh, yeah.
starting, man. I love it.
the Hornets are definitely rebuilding. If you're 1 year
With Terry
like
Rozier, Gordon Hayward, Miles Bridges, what are you talking about?
I mean, they are fine, fresh off of a rebuild.
They're the
okay?
6th seed. Yeah.
What are the Bulls?
We're no. We're not about to call into question the seeding when we're just like 22 games. Like technically, the Lakers are like a 4th seed right now.
Wait, no, they're not. Yo, you're bad at this. They're
What are you?
seventh.
What are you
hold
on? Man? The Lakers are 7th. The Hornets are 13 and 10, which would make them 4th in the West right now.
The
But
Lakers
they're
are
sitting
11,
at a nice 6th in the East.
the Lakers are 11 and 11, and the Mavericks are 10 and 9.
I would
don't know-
also like to add that the Lakers have had, let me see right here. Oh, they've had the easiest schedule to this day. That's going to move down to 29 by the time the season is over. Just thought
It's gonna move down to 29 out of 30.
It's going all the way down to 29. They
it'll be the hardest, you're saying.
Yeah, it'll be the hardest, one of the hardest
Oh,
schedules
man.
in the NBA. They have had the easiest schedule. So
Listen,
far.
I'm rubbing my hands for that Knicks Lakers video I can make, just on the main channel. Just boom, pop a quick Lakers. Oh, the Lakers will never figure this out. 500K views, and Mike cries.
It's hysterical. I thought we were going to start with LaMelo and Lonzo, but you guys are so obsessed with these Los Angeles Lakers, man, that I guess we're talking Lakers. Well, I'm going to admit, I think it's going to sound so pathetic, but I actually enjoyed watching the Lakers for about 2.5 minutes this past week when they went on a 16-0 run against the Detroit Pistons, baby. It looked like we actually knew what we were doing for a very brief period of time against one of the worst teams in the NBA. I don't know what to say. I'm hoping that this is one of those situations where we figure it out as we go on, but I can't help but see that this is starting to look very familiar to the 2013 NBA season. We're even rumored to have Frank Vogel on the hot seat.
So, are you aware that Anthony Davis, and I love AD, I don't let anybody else tell you otherwise. Are you aware that he's one of the worst shooters in NBA history right now, statistically speaking?
Yeah, that's the big problem for sure. The question that I have, and Coop, I want to hear that exact stat for sure. But yeah, so I've seen that on Twitter, and the question that I have after looking at that, well, there's two. It's one, is Anthony Davis ever going to be the alpha dog player that LeBron and the Lakers envisioned, I guess, when they signed him, because it was supposed to be kind of a passing of the torch kind of thing. Anthony Davis averaged 28 points and 12 rebounds a game as like a 23-year-old. He was on that path. He doesn't seem like he's currently on that path. And so there's, one, can he be that? And two, did the man practice shooting since the bubble? Like, his bubble numbers were crazy.
This is an unpopular opinion. I'm sorry, I really just cut you off.
You got it.
This is an unpopular opinion, and I've been saying this for the longest of times, and I've been getting flamed for this take, and I will continue to get flamed for this take. But I've been saying that Anthony Davis is not a good jump shooter. He has never really been that good of a jump shooter. He just takes so many layups and dunks around the rim, and you see the cool fadeaways and all that stuff go in occasionally, and you're like, wow, that guy is great at shooting the basketball. And he's not. But in the bubble, like Korzimba said, he was incredibly hot. He had a crazy bubble run. The guy absolutely couldn't miss. So, yeah, hopefully he turns around. And to give Korzimba that stat that he was looking for earlier this season, Anthony Davis is shooting jump shots at 33.1% on all jumpers, good for dead last in the NBA. He ranks last in efficiency, averaging just 0.71 points per try.
Also, guys, while you're here, this podcast, Laced Up, is also on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It would be awesome if you could go check us out there, follow us there, and leave us a review.
Yeah, so guys, we are capping off the giveaway to the first 40,000 subscribers that turn on our notifications for the Laced Up podcast. All you have to do to enter for a chance to win a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X is subscribe, hit that notification bell. If you want to do us a favor, leave a like on the pod and let me know in the comments section down below when it's done. You'll enter for a chance to win a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X. Yeah, man. I mean, I don't know what you want me to say. Like, we're not on the bubble, AD is no longer a Disney, Mickey is back to being LeBron. Like, what do you want me to say? Like, honestly, I've been getting a lot of creative comments in my videos. I got Omicron variant the other day. So, I don't know how to explain this other than the fact that Russell Westbrook definitely messes up the spacing for the starting five of the Los Angeles Lakers a decent amount. I mean, whenever I see, I don't think to date, like, I'm sure he's made a three or like here, he's definitely made a three, but I don't think I've seen it with my own eyes yet. Every single time Russell Westbrook tries to pull up for three, like, I just imagine the other team, like, cheering, excited, happy.
It happens. I've been that other team. Every single time he takes a three, I cheered. I was like, yes, good shot for us, good shot every time.
So we're in this really bad situation where like no one's really closing out on Russell Westbrook. Every single time I see him.
Do you do the same thing with Anthony Davis when he shoots, Mike?
At this point when he's spotting up for three, I'm like, go ahead, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
AD also had a hilarious quote, and somebody quote tweeted this on Twitter and said it sounds like a threat. He said, "I'm going to continue to shoot the ball from three, whether it goes in or not." He said that was a threat.
I mean, I like that. Like, I like it court spacing wise. I like it in terms of like, Tom's throwing me off with a text. I like the idea of, you want to shoot threes just to keep the defense honest in like a way like that Giannis does. Giannis doesn't make a high percentage of his threes, but it's keeping the defense honest. The problem is that a lot of AD's looks are coming off of like, spot up attempts, and that's where everything changes. It's not like he's over here keeping the defense honest by, pulling the occasional three. No one's going to guard you if you're a spot up shooter that's over there shooting under 30% from three. I mean, that's just a good shot for the defense every single time. So the defense here and keep shooting is like, okay, great. Keep doing it.
Yeah. And you also want AD close to the basket.
I think it's like, I think the Lakers starting five is just a spacing nightmare. I mean, DeAndre Jordan and Russell Westbrook does kind of mess some stuff up there. Although Russell Westbrook, I'm going to give him credit. He's having one of his better 3-point shooting seasons. He's currently at 31%, which is kind of pathetic if you're AD. Like, you're literally shooting worse than Russell Westbrook, which is typically a huge hole in his game. Only thing I could say is hopefully they figure it out as time progresses on. We're just 21 games in. I hope we don't do something like firing our head coach in the middle of the season, because I don't think that'll really solve anything.
So
I think that'll just make
do
things
you like
worse.
Vogel? Are you a Vogel guy?
I don't think Vogel is the answer. I think what Vogel's good at isn't necessarily what this team needs right now, which is he's tremendous when it comes to defensive sets, and he's like revolutionized defensive basketball with his drop sets. But right now the Lakers are struggling offensively, and they just need someone to come in and just figure out how to put each and every one of these players in a situation where they could be successful. Even furthermore, I really just, the more I like watch Rob Pelinka's moves and decisions, the more I just feel like he lucked into a good situation. I mean, I like the signing of Malik Monk. I don't get the signing of DeAndre Jordan. Anyone could have told you that you need a floor spacing center. I don't know why you would sign Dwight Howard and DeAndre Jordan. That doesn't make much sense either. So I don't know. In terms of roster construction, it's a little head scratching. I feel like they just saw Russell Westbrook and they're like, oh, hurt the dirt. If we trade a bunch of our role players, we could get ourselves a former MVP without thinking of fit at all. So I'm more concerned about the construction of the roster than the coaching currently.
We could actually use that to transition back to the Bulls. I'm going to tell you how in just a second. But first, I just want to say, AD's no Jonas. Because, my boy Jonas was 7-7 in the first half from 3 the other
Oh, you're
night.
saying Jonas.
He's saying Giannis. He's not
Jonas.
saying Giannis. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, no.
Oh.
To everyone at home, he's talking about Jonas Valanciunas, not Giannis.
Yeah.
That's what happens
No,
when the
no,
Pelicans
not
fans here.
Giannis. Not Giannis.
Yeah,
not Giannis.
everyone, just everyone in general was like, wow, that's how Coop pronounces Giannis.
No.
I mean, that was a big win last night, right?
That was a giant win against the Los Angeles Clippers. I lost my mind. He dropped 39 points. I think 15 boards. I just had the stats in front of me. 39, 15, 7 of 8 from 3, 15 of 24 from the field. And all I could think about is how good this team is going to look once Zion Williamson returns. They have won 3 of their last 4 against good teams: Washington, Utah, the Los Angeles Clippers. And I said it. Pelicans to the play-in. The pod didn't want to believe me, and I stood firm. Pelicans to the play-in. And we're still 6 and 17.
Yeah,
we still got a long way to go.
6 and 17. Yeah, I mean,
6 and 17.
I will say,
like 4 games back
with the hardest record. I mean, with the hardest schedule in the league, though, you got to take that into account.
I will say, out in your starting lineup currently, you've got Devontae Graham, Josh Hart, Valanciunas, Brandon Ingram, and then your 5th guy sounds like a made-up
Herb Jones. He's amazing.
Herbert Jones.
Herb Jones is so good. He's one of the best rookies in the league this season.
So is he sliding to the bench?
Watch. I think so. I'm not sure. I thought it might be Devontae Graham, but I think I like what Devontae Graham brings to playing with Zion too much to slide him to the bench. But Herb Jones is just like the ultimate glue guy. I already think he's a top defender in the NBA, like top 10 for sure. He
top 10 defender in the NBA.
Yeah, I think he's top 10 for sure. If you watch him play, I think you'd be right there with me. He's amazing. He's shut down top scorers already. Trey, I think it was like a Hawks blogger. He was like, Herb Jones was picking up Trae Young like full court, and the second that Herb Jones went out, the Hawks blogger was like, Trey's just doing whatever he wants right now. As soon as Herb went out, it was like a completely different game. He's that type of defender as a rookie. A little older as a rookie, 23 years old, but he's an impact player for sure. So what I wanted to use the Lakers for is I wanted to transition to the Bulls, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the Lakers possibly going Russell Westbrook over DeMar DeRozan. Do you guys have any strong feelings on that?
The strong feeling has to be, of course, looking back, that probably is the mistake of the summer, I would say, especially because they were going to get him for less than the Bulls did, apparently. I mean, from what DeMar said, he thought he was going to be a Laker. He thought it was a done deal. I don't know what happened. I don't know if, San Antonio was like, or I don't know if he just wanted more money. I'm not sure. He could have just taken the money. So if in reality it was like taking Russell Westbrook over DeMar, then yeah, that seems like a gigantic mistake to me. I mean, it made sense, Russ. In the offseason, I will just say, in the offseason, no one was saying like, oh, you should have went with DeMar over Russell Westbrook. It appeared. If anything, people were saying DeMar's overpaid. Maybe that was a mistake for the Bulls. Maybe 3 years down the road, the Bulls are going to heavily regret it. If anything, I will just say that it's a huge testament to DeMar with that chip on his shoulder, with that, okay, yeah, I watched the Toronto Raptors win the championship without me after being an all-star in that organization for a while, after constantly being ranked over Kyle Lowry, who Kyle Lowry was seen as, you know, one of these big steals of the offseason, or was one of the, you know, main targets because he won an NBA championship, because he had championship experience. DeMar didn't have that. He was stashed away in San Antonio. Basically, no one really watched him. And now the man is emerging as an all-NBA player. I mean, he's been in the top 10 of the MVP voting since MVP voting has, you know, been a thing this year, according to NBA.com and all of that. So I don't know. I couldn't be more happy with DeMar. What do you guys think?
You might think this is bold, but I don't think the Lakers would be that much different if we did have DeMar over Russell Westbrook. I feel like they'd have similar problems with spacing, although DeMar DeRozan would probably be better defensively. And I think it'd be a marginal improvement at best, but the Lakers wouldn't be like a super team if they added DeMar DeRozan over Russell Westbrook. I do think Russell Westbrook was like plan like C or plan D even, or maybe plan B. I mean, plan A was Dame. I think plan B may have been Russell Westbrook, or I think plan B may have been Chris Paul. I'm not exactly sure. And then after Russell Westbrook, I think they wanted to go the Buddy Hield, DeMar DeRozan route. Personally, my philosophy when it comes to building teams has always been try to find your two stars, and the Lakers have that in Anthony Davis and LeBron James, and just, you know, surround them with really good supporting pieces, kind of like what the Golden State Warriors did. And I've always been a huge proponent of that. I've said this, and I've been on record saying this, that I felt like these Golden State Warriors teams, this year's team, could be better than the Kevin Durant Golden State Warriors. You guys remember I said that a couple of pods ago?
Again,
and
that's just letting you be with that one.
What?
I'm just letting you be with that one. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if you take them in a bubble and just put them, okay, best of 7 series.
Yeah.
Freaking Durant Warriors are smacking them.
Yeah, easy.
I mean, I personally just have the philosophy of deeper teams tend to do significantly better than teams that are
during the
more
regular
top-heavy.
season.
Yeah. Weren't the Durant Warriors also pretty deep?
They're deep enough. I mean,
Yeah.
when it comes to the playoffs, you need like 8 guys, 9 max.
Yeah. So with the Russell Westbrook and DeMar thing, my closing thoughts on this is at least with DeMar, even if you are right, Mike, I think DeMar gives you much more flexibility. Whereas if it's not working out, you have the ability to move on. Russell Westbrook is due nearly $50 million next season, and you have definitely handicapped your team in order to go out and get Russell Westbrook. LeBron's been defying all logic for a long time, but I don't know how much longer he's going to continue to do this. I'm going to just assume it's a long time because it's freaking LeBron James we're talking about. But that being said, also a contract that is defying logic and reminds me of Russell Westbrook is the one for John Wall, who is also due nearly $50 million next season and has not played 1 minute of NBA basketball this season. What are your thoughts on that?
It's funny. It's the exact same contract as Russell Westbrook, only in Russell Westbrook's case, it was kind of like a feel-good moment. The OKC Thunder were like, oh, thank you, Russ, for not leaving us and remaining loyal to our franchise. Here's a Supermax contract. Whereas in John Wall's situation, he actually signed his Supermax contract right before he would wind up tearing his Achilles. And like it would kick in, I believe it kicked in the year after he tore his Achilles, if I'm not mistaken. And then you pretty much have a post-Achilles tear John Wall on a Supermax contract. It's a pretty interesting situation, but it's nothing new. We've seen this before. You saw it with to a lesser extent, you saw it with like Blake Griffin, LaMarcus Aldridge. Hey, we're going to sit you down until we trade you. You're seeing a more aggressive version with it with Ben Simmons this past year.
Al Horford, notably, I would say on the Thunder last year, they just sat him because he was too good. Yeah.
You're
Also,
ruining
though,
their tanking chances.
Man,
Yeah.
if I was the Rockets, bro, unpopular opinion, I'd be playing John Wall basketball. I'd say F it. Maybe we could find a sucker, bro. You're taking 30 shots a game. Please hit at least 45% of them. Let's go out and find somebody that's going to, maybe put in a bid for you. So the Rockets have been doing this weird thing where they've been running Jalen Green, and Jalen Green's out with an injury right now. They've been running Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr. together. That puts Kevin Porter Jr. at the point guard position. Kevin Porter Jr., despite getting one of the nastiest triple-doubles I've ever seen yesterday, is not a point guard. Good player, talented guy. If I'm wrong on this one, I'd love to be wrong because, I love the Rockets, but I just don't think that that's good for the development of the Rockets team unless you're going to be doing that long term. I think it would be good to see Jalen Green getting a rep alongside a real point guard and developing good habits as opposed to, rocking with a score first guy like Kevin Porter Jr. You guys have any thoughts on that?
So I will say that with Kevin Porter Jr., watching Rockets games, I am like a little concerned with, I kind of am with you in that I feel like, yeah, having a veteran presence, like let's say John Wall was cool with playing 20 to, playing the Kevin Love role in the Cavaliers, playing 20 minutes sometimes or playing 34 if he's like is playing really well. But if he was cool with playing that role, then absolutely, yeah, take him back. And I agree with you. Let him play because I think you're right in that, like, if you're looking for Kevin Porter Jr. to be your point guard going forward, it doesn't make much sense to me. It feels like you're taking, a square peg and trying to fit it into a round hole. I don't think that's who he is. He's definitely a score first guy to me, as is Jalen Green. I think having John Wall as a veteran presence that maybe is looking to pass more, especially with his injuries that have built up, and is looking to prove himself to a contender, maybe not this season, but maybe next year. He's looking in a potential buyout opportunity where he's trying to prove that he is still like a solid player or a championship level player for next season. Get John Wall in there and he's going to help out, your team. Eric Gordon's been playing for the Rockets. That's why this is a kind of a confusing situation.
Yeah,
because Eric Gordon's been playing and he's been playing a lot and like he's cool with it. He hasn't said anything. The Rockets are cool with him playing. Well, everything's fine with that.
Eric
John
Gordon
Wall
actually favorited a tweet the other day that was like, why did I get stuck with Steven Silas as my coach?
Oh, really?
The Rockets are a mess, dude. They're looking better now. They've won 3 straight. But, like, there's, like, just so... And I'm like, what is Eric Gordon mad at? This guy's always mad. Like, he was mad in New Orleans. He was mad with Harden. And he's mad at Silas. What is Silas doing? But Eric Gordon's been having a solid season. Flight Mike, I could tell you want to say something. What you feeling right now, my guy?
Wait, can I just, before anything, just want to point out that Eric Gordon at one point was on pace to be, like, the top shooting guard in the NBA.
Don't remind me, bro. That was our franchise. Forgotten. That was our franchise player.
I feel like just people forget that, like, when with the trade, that brought Chris Paul over, Eric Gordon was the centerpiece. And the first words I think that were out of Blake or DeAndre's mouth, one of the first words were like, did we have to give up Eric? Like, that was like the first thing. They were like, did we have to give up Eric? And they were like, oh, okay, we had to give him up. He was on 22 points a game as a 22-year-old. Man, that guy played a completely different style of basketball. It's so weird. Like, he was like a cannonball down there. He would absorb contact, score.
Dude,
completely change it up.
By the end of the 2024 season, Eric Gordon would have made nearly $200 million throughout his entire career. I mean, like, if you have to suck it up and just deal with being on a rebuilding team until, those beautiful role play, like mid-bench role-playing years, then so be it, man. I mean, he's had an awesome career. It seemed like he had a very successful career. It does suck that he's in a situation that he's in now. I think his contract's also extremely tradable if the Rockets want Russell.
He makes $20 million a year until 2024. He makes
his
19.5 in 2023 and 20.9 in 2024.
If you look at his stats, his numbers have been good. He's been locked in on defense. When he's playing defense, he's looked good. I actually think it is tradable, Mike. I agree with you, bro.
Yeah, I would agree. 20 million's tradable. I mean, it's tough maybe for that last year.
I don't know who would want to trade for him. That being said, but I do think it's tradable. And what are you trading for Eric Gordon? Do you have to give up a first for Eric Gordon? No way, right?
No, not with that contract. I don't think.
Not with that contract.
No, there's a lot worse contracts. I mean, like we discussed the John Wall, we discussed John Wall's contract, Russell Westbrook's contract. Like,
well, so wait, so okay, if you were the Houston Rockets, though, we kind of talked about John Wall without actually going into it. What would you do if you were John Wall, and what would you do if you're the Rockets? Because, you know, we've talked about hypothetically what we would want to see happen, but the Rockets are holding him out for a reason. Would you just completely switch it up?
I would play John Wall because I think, first of all, he could teach Kevin Porter Jr. and Jalen Green a thing or two about being a pro. But in addition to that, if you're playing John Wall, you need you actually give him an opportunity to inflate his statistics significantly and eventually trade him somewhere else. And I feel like just by letting him rot on the bench, your fate is going to be something similar to what happened to Andre Drummond or like LaMarcus Aldridge. Typically, when a player gets shut down, no franchise says, "Oh, you know what will really help us? That guy that hasn't played for like 3 months." You know, it usually, if I say they play John Wall, and by the way, John Wall isn't the only guy they're trying to trade. I saw something the other day that suggested that the Rockets are also trying to potentially trade Christian Wood, which he's having a tremendous season too.
Yeah, Christian Wood. So the thing with him is all the talent in the world has been really good the past couple of games. But there was an instance, I think it was against the Nuggets, where he had a post-game quote. They would lose to the Nuggets. I don't remember how many shots he took that game, but in the post-game press conference, he was like, "Yeah, I think we would have won if we got me the ball more," pretty much. And then the following game, he pulled, I think, who did this before? I think Kobe did something like this, where he just passed every time he like touched it.
Oh man. Yeah. There's a famous story of that, actually. There's a famous story of Rick Barry, a man who wore a wig during an entire NBA season. If you want to laugh, Google that. Rick Barry wore a wig during an NBA season. It's like you go through like his like yearbooks and like of the NBA yearbook, and like one season he's like almost bald, and then he suddenly has full head of hair, and then he's just like bald. But yeah. So anyway, Rick Barry, wig Hall of Famer and former wig wearer, famously got into a fight, I think during the NBA Finals, and got into a fight, noticed that no one backed him up, went into the second half and refused to fucking shoot the ball. Was like a 30-point per game scorer who was the best player in his team, and was like, "Oh, you all hate me? Okay, cool. Well, I'm not playing."
Yo,
which brings me actually, you know what? This brings me to Ben Simmons, who, you know, I know we all love here. I do want to talk about Michael Porter Jr. a bit. I think it's a good transition from our injury, but I do want to say real quick with Ben Simmons. All right. If you are Ben Simmons, the way out of this is just so simple, but you just have to have gigantic balls. And it's just, you have to just go into the game and just shoot every wide open three you take. If you take every wide open shot and you hustle on defense and you play basketball, like I'm not saying you're just, you know, just doing nothing. If you take wide open threes and you just shoot 20% plus, I mean, whatever, and you just brick them all, like Philly's either going to bench you or they have to do something. At this point, you are getting paid and they have to make a decision because you're going out there. Now, Joel Embiid might fucking kill you. Like he might actually punch you in the face on the court as you brick your 7-3 in a row. But there's what is there to say in the rule book to stop a player from playing hard, just taking a shot that he's not good at? There's nothing. You can't be like, oh yeah, you can't take those shots. Like he's wide open. So there's no, like, the Players Association, there'd be no way to get around it. They'd have to pay him. I mean, at that point, they might force a hand for a trade. I don't know who would want him at that point. But if you want to get paid and you're Ben Simmons, if you just go in there and you just take wide open threes every time, they can't do anything about that. You just have to be able to look your teammates in the eyes and be like, I'm losing on purpose.
Well, do you think, I have a question, if Ben Simmons was to shoot threes, do you think it would be above or below 28%? Because below, what percentage? Do you think 24, 25?
I bet it would hover around 20.
Higher than Anthony Davis, lower than Russell Westbrook.
I think if
Somewhere in
he's
that
still
range.
shooting, also keep in mind, this wouldn't be a Ben Simmons who's, set on making these shots. So he might just catch the ball and there's a guy right in his face and just pulls it,
This situation is so funny to me because Ben Simmons pretty much said, hey, I'm not going to play. And now you have Tyrese Maxey. That's like, okay, well, I'm going to come out and just drop a casual 18 points per game, 5 assists per game, and shoot 38% from 3, which is hysterical, by the way, because it's a huge 8% jump from his rookie season. So he significantly improved his 3-point jumper, which is something that Ben Simmons has always struggled to do. And pretty much Tyrese Maxey is exactly what the Philadelphia 76ers wanted when they drafted Markelle Fultz. And now I don't know how legit this rumor is. I made a video on it the other day where apparently Ben Simmons is going broke because he bought 2 mansions in Philadelphia and has a tendency to purchase a new car every single month, and he doesn't have any new money coming in because he's not playing any games currently. So it just seems like things are getting worse for this man. If that report is true, by the way, which is a hysterical report.
If I was Ben Simmons, bro, it's a tough situation to be in, but I think I'm with Korzimba, man. And like you said, if he's really losing money and if he actually is struggling, pass me the basketball. Let me get some threes up. We could put a stop to this whole situation really fast. The Tyrese Maxey thing's awesome too. I'm really happy for Maxey. 18, 4, 5. 39% from 3, 47 from the field, like you said, having a fantastic season. I wonder if this is at all a little bit awkward because Tyrese Maxey is also a clutch client. So what's going on there? Is everything just going to be good with Maxey and this is an isolated thing with Ben Simmons, or does Rich Paul have some built up resentment towards the Philadelphia 76ers?
I feel like if you're Rich Paul, a part of you has to be saying, okay, you have to kind of know your clients and their personality. He's not going to come out at his other client and say, I'm mad at you for seizing this great opportunity, because Tyrese Maxey boosted his value as a potential client. Although his contract doesn't expire for another 2 years, he boosted his value significantly over these first 20 games. And if he continues doing that, that's going to be a huge payday for Rich Paul, right? Because he's going to get a percentage of that potential. He might get a potential Michael Porter-esque type of deal if he continues on this route. Do we agree on that?
Yeah, for sure. He's averaging 18 and 5 in his second season. So if you were to, especially with the tremendous leap up that, he's the leap that he took from rookie to sophomore season already, and the fact that he's going out there a lot of times with the 76ers right now and playing in uncertain lineups, the fact that he's done, they've had to deal with the Ben Simmons drama, all of the, that team. I'm sure they hear it way more than we hear it. And, he's been incredibly impressive for sure.
So as a result,
I had a point.
Oh, my
I don't
bad.
remember what it was.
I was going to finish just answering Coop's question. I think as a result, Ben Simmons lowers his value a little bit. You don't get mad at Tyrese Maxey if you're his agent. You kind of just roll your eyes at Ben Simmons and say, dude, you got the max contract and just freaking play. If the Sixers, apparently, I think Kevin O'Connor had this article where he said that the Sixers' initial plan for the 2017 Sixers, the Sixers that just drafted Fultz, was, you have Markelle Fultz, you have Joel Embiid, and that creates remarkable floor spacing. And then you have Ben Simmons, who's going to be Draymond Green plus, and that was their vision for Ben Simmons.
So with Maxey, my thing was not that Rich would get mad at Maxey, but when negotiations come up in the future, do you now have a built up resentment towards the 76ers where you're okay, you're giving me this max or I'm out of here. I saw what y'all did with Ben. I'm not messing with y'all. On that type of time,
Well, it depends on how Maxey feels about himself. Maxey could be what the, for all we know, all the 76ers are Ben's a fucking asshole. What's his deal? Come play basketball, We have no idea. What I will say about Rich Paul and all of this is that I definitely agree with Mike in that He raised his value as a client. That's always a good thing. They're a business at the end of the day. And two, I will say that I don't think you can keep I think if you are, your Clutch Sports and you're all of this, I don't think you can keep this Ben Simmons thing in the back of your head in terms of other clients going forward, because you are the one that's causing this disruption, I mean, sure, the 76ers did all of this, but there is no precedent for this. Like, there is no, a player sitting out when they have this many years left on their contract of a max contract. This hasn't happened. There's a reason why NBA executives are pressuring the 76ers themselves and being like, you can't give in to this, because if you give in, then, that sets a precedent, a horrible precedent going forward. So, I mean, if I'm Rich Paul, I'm I'm in my head knowing, what we're doing is kind of screwed up to Philly, but, so we'll just take whatever they give us. If I was Philly, I would feel a certain way towards Rich Paul, honestly.
If I'm a player, I kind of see what's going on in Philly, and I'm just like, I don't want any part in that, because I do agree with what you said, and I agree with what Mike said, but it's just a gross mismanagement all around to me. And, if I'm a player, things like this, when I'm making decisions, it sticks in my head, even though I don't actually think it has for a lot of players. But if I'm a player, I think it's something that I definitely consider.
I think it comes down to money sometimes with it not sticking in people's heads.
Yeah,
that's
true.
A poor front office, they go and throw you the most money by far. You're just going there probably.
Also, with all due respect, the Ben Simmons situation is a very bad combination of a player with just a horrible attitude. Bear in mind, this all started with Ben Simmons performing horribly against the Atlanta Hawks. His teammates being frustrated and disappointed in him. Doc Rivers said something about whether or not he's good enough to be a championship point guard. Some players would take that challenge and run away with it and use that as motivation. Ben Simmons got his feelings hurt. The entire offseason, he was was passive aggressive towards his teammates. He wanted to be traded, and it just got worse and worse and worse. It's just a very negative attitude, and I do believe this situation is mainly Ben Simmons' fault, but it's also the Sixers' fault for not knowing their player well enough. So I don't think if you're Rich Paul, you're going up to the Sixers and saying, wow, how dare you treat my client this way? Because the Sixers gave your client a max contract, and he's the one that's pouting and complaining and is just in a has a very bad attitude, despite being in a situation where he could win a championship. So what else would you want? This is a player that literally said he'd accept a trade to the Kings. So I don't know what else you would want.
Speaking, we're not going to talk Kings, I guess. So you could.
What
Sacramento.
do you want to talk about, Marvin Bagley?
They're playing the Lakers tonight, right?
Oh no.
Oh, you're not trying to see. That was a sad loss. I'm not going to lie. Good win, Kings, man. Good win by the Sacramento Kings. So, while we're talking about guys in and out of lineups, we're gonna have to throw this one to Coors a little bit, as his guy Thibs has taken Kemba Walker out of the New York Knicks rotation, a feel-good story that has gone sour. Thibs said that he will tighten the rotation moving forward, that it would be tough to play three small guards together, and that he has great respect for Kemba Walker and all that he's accomplished. I really didn't like that last part. How you guys feeling about this one?
That last part for sure makes it sound like it's a parting of ways to me. It sounds like, okay, we're done. When you go, I have a lot of respect for what you've accomplished, that you're on the way out, it sounds like. And I mean, it makes sense in that, all right, so the New York Knicks right now, we're looking at them. They're 11-9, all right? They're not playing the brand of basketball that they'd want. They would prefer to be in the, a few more wins up, I would say. Is it Kemba Walker's fault? Definitely not entirely. I mean, he's not helping, but if you look at the roster, Julius Randle has taken a regressed. He has taken a step back, shooting around 41%, 19 a game, still getting 10 rebounds and 5 assists, solid. But the main disappointment to me, and we'll definitely continue to talk about Kemba, but the main disappointment to me has been RJ Barrett on the offensive end, at least. Averaging 14.6 a game, shooting under 40% from the field. This was supposed to be that third season where suddenly, a lot of Knicks fans, and, one of my boys is a Knicks fan. I know Knicks fans. I live in New Jersey. Knicks fans were all in and are still all in, I'm sure, on RJ Barrett becoming an all-star, becoming that guy that they're going to go into, the next decade with. So for RJ to take, this, to not take a leap, but to do the complete opposite and regress, that is scary to me. That would be the most scary thing of the Knicks season so far if I was a Knicks fan.
So that quote that I read came out the 29th. He said he wants to tighten the rotation. It's interesting because see, the 27th they only played 9 play. Yeah, right. They was tightening the rotation in November.
About to play everyone 45 minutes.
They played 9 players, and that's about on average for an NBA team. But like you're saying, like you got to tighten this rotation. Like whoa, Dibs. Like let's relax here.
He's gonna play all the players 50
well,
minutes.
Keep
per
in
game,
mind,
bro.
Keep in mind, Rose is out.
That is also true. I wonder who else he plans on taking out of the rotation. I'm looking at their lineup right now. They have some interesting names.
From what I've read, Quickly is the guy that he's been impressed by, and that he's like willing to. Last year Emmanuel Quickly was very solid as a rookie for sure, but Tibbs just has this thing against rookies. He's not a rookie anymore. I think Tibbs is looking to play him more, and then also top of that, it looks like he's chosen Alec Burks just over Kemba. Like that's the guy that they specifically named as the guy that was going to get more playing time.
That's interesting because they kind of have very similar. They have very similar number. Well, no, actually, never mind. Wait, what? Alec Burks is shooting 45% from 3 this year. What the hell? I had no. Wow. Okay, I can see. All right, I can see why he's going Alec Burks now. All right,
that's the defense. It's defense too. The thing with, so I'll say quickly, then I'm done. Sorry, Mike. I think I just cut you off a bit. But the thing is,
okay. I'm just
with small guards, it's with small NBA point guards, it feels like they're always one season away when they get old like this from just like completely tanking off. I mean, we saw it with Isaiah Thomas. Of course, he had injuries and stuff, but that's the thing. Like these injuries pile up more for offensive-based guys. You have to be able to adjust your game like a Chris Paul type. Chris Paul adjusted his game tremendously when he was, young in New Orleans. He's, fastest point guard in the league, incredibly just, a blur. And he suffered a bunch of injuries and he was able to adjust his game. The question is, can Kemba do the same? That remains to be seen.
Is his contract tradable?
Yeah, because they didn't have to. Yeah, because they didn't have, because he got bought out from the Celtics.
It's actually like a bargain contract.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he is currently making 8.7 and 9.1 in 2023.
Like you see, like here's the thing.
Sorry, bought out by the Thunder.
If I am the New York Knicks, I wouldn't take Kemba completely out of the rotation. The man is still shooting 41% from 3, like attempting 5 threes per game. So that's remarkable. Still, yeah, I know he's a defensive liability, but that's good enough to have him come off the bench and just provide some nice shooting. I don't think he needs to be taken out of the rotation altogether. I do actually want to commend Tom Thibodeau, because after analyzing the data myself, you're getting better shooting and better defense from Alec Burks, but at the same time, from my idea and from my impression of the New York Knicks last year, they were the most successful when they played through Julius Randle and allowed him to make plays. So I feel like this puts Julius Randle in a little bit of a better situation as well. Although I don't think Kemba Walker should be taken out of the rotation altogether, especially because if you want to move on from him, just like John Wall, you should at least play him as a role player and then possibly trade him at the trade deadline, because this is a team with Quickly, Derrick Rose, Alec Burks, and Kemba Walker at the point guard position. You guys have too many guards, so try to trade that for something else you're missing.
Yeah, I never liked that 3 guard stuff. They are doing it out in Sacramento.
They're doing it everywhere. They're doing it Bulls. They're doing it Hornets. A lot of teams are running 3 guards
wings
this season.
We need some wings. Like we need wings on the court, man. I like versatile 3s and 4s.
The problem is quality power forwards and centers.
Tough. Yeah, it's tough. But
because when those guys at the top, but like just like just for an extended rotation. Like, I just know, like, from watching the Bulls,
Good teams have them.
you know,
Good teams have guys that they could send out there.
there are big men out there. Yeah, they have, like, guys, but, like, at the end of the day, like, Derek Jones Jr. is, like, playing center for the Bulls because it's just working better.
Yeah,
Like,
I
are
like
lineups
that.
with, like, Caruso, Lonzo, Levine, DeRozan, Derek Jones Jr.
Yeah.
Did you guys see this, like, really just awful rumor by Bleacher Report that suggested that the Knicks will try to move Kemba Walker possibly for John Wall? Did you guys see that? It's true. Yeah, it's laughable.
No, I didn't see that one.
Let me plug into the NBA trade machine on this one.
No, you can't. It's impossible. Like, I have it open in front of me, and I'm like, how the hell could you do this? Because one player is making $8 million a year.
Man, bro, could you
the others
imagine
making 44?
Could you imagine how much this sucks for Kemba? Homecoming, you wanted to go to NY. Melo, I think, literally just shouted out like that he loved seeing Kemba in New York, and like days later, you were pulled out of the rotation. I really don't like the way this has gone down to, because it kind of feels like they're scapegoating Kemba. And regardless of if he is or isn't the problem, and look, I know their starting lineup has been one of the worst starting lineups in the NBA according to plus minus on the court, off the court. And yeah, I get you got to make changes, but I think there are different ways to go about making those changes. But Dibs is old school, so I guess it is what it is at the end of the day. And guys like playing for him too, so it's going to be interesting to see where the Knicks go from here. I know in our predictions I had them ranked like I think 6th.
Kemba himself talked about how he liked playing in New York, how he loved it. He was just like on JJ's podcast. He was just on JJ Redick's podcast. And Kemba was talking about it. It's just crazy. I'm looking at their 5-man combinations, and their starting lineup, like the lineup that he's played the most minutes with, yes, is at a huge negative. But other than that, mostly fine. The thing is, Kemba has started every game he's played for them. So, like, it's kind of surprising to me that they're not at least trying the drop back and, playing him off the bench role, Instead, they're just like, you're out of the rotation completely. That's surprising to me. But anyway, what were you saying, Mike?
I don't know. I just I wanted to get your closing thoughts, literally what you ended up saying before we talked about another struggling point guard, and that's Damian Lillard. What the hell's going on with him, man?
Ooh, okay. So I saw earlier this season that Damian Lillard was struggling to adjust to the rules a little bit. His words, not mine. I think he said something along the lines of blah, 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 foul baiting. This isn't supposed to affect me. I don't try to trick people. And he has picked things up before this recent 3-game stretch, but I am a little surprised that Dame is struggling like he's struggling. What about you guys?
Well, just a comment on your the foul baiting thing. Foul baiting wasn't really a huge part of Damian Lillard's game. I mean, if you look at the amount of free throws he attempted last year, it was about 7. This year, it's about 4.5. The main issue is the man's like gone ice cold from 3. He's typically near the 40% in 3-point shooting, and this year he's 30%.
But
so
the rules also have changed the quality of look that you get from 3 and how guys guard you. So if guys are allowed to crowd you a little more, some of those tough shots that Dame is used to taking and making become that much tougher to get off.
Fair. You know what I will say, one, about this rule that I've noticed, just, being a Bulls fan. I don't know if you guys have noticed anything with your teams, but, watching the Bulls day in and day out, for some reason it appears DeMar DeRozan is unaffected by this rule completely, to the point where, like, I've seen him jump into guys still getting the call. Like, he's the only player that I can noticeably say the refs are like, sometimes they give him an N1-3 where I'm like, I don't even know about that one. But yeah, Dame is shooting 30%. So if we take, he's making 1.3 threes less a game right now. So that's,
to cut
there
you
go.
off,
That's 4 points. So he
I'm
would be
gonna
averaging.
put this. Look, check this out.
Yeah,
I really
wait. I wasn't. Wait, I was getting his stats. So if you make, if he shoots the same as he was shooting last year, boom, you're back up to 25. If he takes the same amount of free throws as last year, you're back up to the same numbers. I mean, I just want to, point this out that for guards, the difference for free throw attempts could just be you don't get fouled on 1 3 a night. So if it's 1 3 a night that you would have got fouled on, last season that you don't get this season, that's 3 less free throw attempts a game. That's probably around 3 points a game, seeing as Dame shoots 90% from the line. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think Dame is a foul baiter, but I do think that the rules definitely affect the quality of look that you are able to get. And a lot of these calls that are being called in the video that I sent you guys are not necessarily being called this season.
Dame, this is extended too at this point, because for Team USA, he was struggling as well. And we heard that with the same thing. It was like, okay, this was supposed to be, Dame was supposed to be one of the top guys on that team. And he ended up, not really being that because apparently, the rule changes and everything. And then we come into the NBA, and just for everyone at home that, might not know how drastic this is, Dame averaged 30 points a game in 2020, 28.8 in 2021, and now in 2022, he's averaging 21.5, which is, you're going from among the elite in the NBA to now not even an all-star. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, it like you said, it's crazy. Ultimately, I think Dame figures it out and gets going. 20 games into the season, though, he's going to need a massive correction and a massive stretch of hot games, which, he's had before. How are the Trailblazers doing? Aren't they like 500 right now?
So yeah. Portland's 10-11, and yeah, they're right there. There's a bunch of teams in the West that are all
they are
1-10
spot away. That is an absolutely mind-blowing stat for a team that you would expect to be in the playoffs. 1-10 away from home. How can you be that bad and want to be a playoff team?
Yeah, on the flip side, they've only lost 1 game at home.
Yeah, that's fantastic. But you gotta get better on the road, especially because you're not gonna have home court advantage at this rate, anyways.
Yeah, they'd get freaking smoked in the first round. On the plus side of things for Portland, CJ's playing well. So if you are, he's playing his 20 points per game. If you are looking to make a move, I don't know. The thing with Portland is if Dame continues to play like this, that's going to maybe lead to some interesting decisions going forward, because this is a team that at any time could rebuild. We've got Dame at 31, McCollum at 30, Norman Powell at 28, Covington at 31, Nurkic at 27, I think they should rebuild.
Speaking of the Portland Trailblazers, this next topic has nothing to do with Portland. I'm not sure you guys have seen this. It's actually some of the craziest. So, earlier in the season, Jokic and one of the Morris brothers got into it. They had a whole debacle last night. They played. Jokic and his brothers would be at the game. Well, of course, Jokic would. Jokic would go on to win, and after the game, he hit a club. I put it in the iMessage chat. He celebrated in Miami after beating the Miami Heat.
with a sign at the club that says Nikola Jokic NBA MVP being paraded around him, which I don't think he asked for. It looks like he didn't, but wow. That's hilarious.
Dude, what hype, man. Honestly, it'd be so sick if I was at a club and then my brothers held up a sign saying "Flight Mike, YouTuber with 500,000 subscribers." That's gotta be a dope feeling if you're Jokic
after beating the Miami Heat too.
Yeah, that's gotta.
Wait! I just want to make this clear right now. So, Mike, if we're ever out all together, you think it would be incredibly dope for me to just pull out a sign that says "Flight Mike 500K subs"
with an arrow pointing towards me? Well,
yeah,
we do Mike Korzemba 1.7 million subs.
No. I'm asking you because that would be funny. That'd be funny to do.
It'd be funny. Look, it'd be funny if we were if we all got together and we were partying and if we did it for an hour. I think if I go over an hour, I'd come off as a little narcissistic. But
yeah, I'm holding that sign up for 6 hours just right here.
Yeah, I'd hold it really high
with the words YouTuber in all caps. YouTuber with 500,000 subs.
Mine would say casual. It's a
Oh,
casual mic. Yeah.
Casual right here, like it's funny because like I have this one friend that like whenever he introduced me to women, he would say, yeah, this is my buddy Mike. He's an extremely successful YouTuber with over 1 million combined subscribers, and he's a huge bodybuilder too. And I'm like, okay, man, this isn't a resume. Like so it just reminded me of that.
Tom should know about that. Freaking Tom used to do the same shit. Tom is our editor, if you guys didn't know, my editor and at Spot. But yeah, Tom, lived together. We would go out together, and Tom would be like, you know, he has 1 million subscribers, and it never worked. Not even a little
so
bit.
Awkward.
Like, not even like you still talk to the person. Like, you had to leave. It was so weird.
I usually like bringing that up, maybe like
not to hate on Tom,
not
not at all to hate on Tom. I want to just point that out. We also did a hilarious thing that was my idea that didn't work, where I was like, oh, let's go ask these girls for a photo because it's such an easy way to go talk to some people. So we went and we tried to do like funny poses while we were posing. Like we tried to do like a buddy cop like this, like back to back, like and like we did those, and the girls did not laugh at all, to the point where we were still doing poses and they're just awkwardly standing there, and we had to fucking get out of there. Like, oh my God, it was awkward. So I'll take that L, Tom. That was definitely on me.
Speaking of women, I don't know if you guys have heard, but a WNBA superstar made waves this past week because she is now launching an OnlyFans after a controversy that happened at the Olympics. This is the woman that Drake name dropped in sicko mode. Wet like I'm Lizzie. I'm Book. Wet like I'm Lizzie. So this is Lizzie. Yeah. We could take that out if you want to. So, back in April, she said, the amount of money I could be making off of OnlyFans is crazy, she told Chris Johnson Hoops on Instagram. What am I doing sitting here? It would need to be called something else, though. If I was going to do something like that, like sell members only content, I'd build my own base. Why not? So currently she is signed to a 1-year, $221,000 contract with the Las Vegas Aces. Wow. Huge contrast from
all right which one of us is buying it? Shotty not nose goes.
Looks like Mike.
I'm not buying it.
Yeah, Mike, it's you. You're the most single.
Yeah, all right, Mike. Well,
the most single.
No, I actually love it. I actually love the fact that she's starting an OnlyFans. I think that's dope, man. There's a lot of money to be had, especially if you have clout for OnlyFans. So I mean, screw it, go get your bag.
She's done Playboy in the past before.
I'm pretty sure she has like 1 million followers on IG too, or something like that.
She said like she said that like her family pushed her into doing it. So if her family has she has full support of her family, and they're to the point where they're pushing her to do it, like make your money for sure. I mean, WNBA doesn't pay a ton, so.
Yeah, she's made like $500,000 in her career in the WNBA. When you're making about which don't get me wrong, getting paid $220 per year is still pretty nice. Not NBA nice, but still pretty decent. But when you're in that situation and you're in a public eye, you need to do whatever it takes to leverage your following into more business opportunities. And especially if she's a body positive female that has clout on Instagram, I definitely think this is a home run.
What would it take for you to start an OnlyFans, Mike?
I mean, what would be posted on the OnlyFans?
I mean, that'd be up to you.
Full frontal.
Full frontal.
What does that mean? What does full frontal mean?
I don't think I'd...
naked from the waist down.
I don't think I'd do it because the only reason I would ever be motivated to do such a thing is for money, and I'm perfectly content with my financial situation. So I'd have to be down really bad, like extremely bad, and there would have to be a significant demand for it. And whoever I am dating,
hilarious thing of
There would have
and
to
whoever I'm
significant demand for a flight mic OnlyFans.
no, because like, dude, I know so many women that
There would have
create an OnlyFans, right?
Yeah,
I know a lot of women that create an OnlyFans, and you know, bam, pictures of them naked on the internet. They make like maybe, I don't know, $100 per month, and forever there's naked pictures of her.
No, it's
on the
fair.
internet.
It's just, it was funny the way you said
Yeah,
it.
significant.
Like significant. There would have to be
Who's demanding
significant
this?
demand.
I mean, bro, Tyga makes like an insane amount of money off of OnlyFans, like a remarkable amount of money.
Who the buying Tiger's OnlyFans?
I don't know.
He's made $8 million as of December 9th, 2020.
And there you have it. The flight mic is too good for $8 million.
I'm not gonna get. There's no way.
Well,
Dude,
we don't know. We don't know. You didn't know your channel would be successful until you got it going.
We're
Yeah.
not doing this, man.
Who knows, man? You could become a sex symbol for YouTube, for NBA YouTubers.
Yo, I want to give a huge shout out to our laced up members for supporting the channel. Thank you guys so much for going the extra mile to support us. We're going to be doing more lives to include all of you guys really, really soon. We're also doing a PlayStation 5 giveaway once we get to 40,000 subscribers. All you have to do is subscribe and turn on our notifications to enter for a chance to win. And guys, I'm really trying to get out of this conversation. So do you guys have any closing statements?
Thank you guys for supporting.
Yeah. Thanks for supporting.
If you're still here while the music is cued, here are 2 videos I think you are definitely going to enjoy. Make sure to click on one of them. Again, I know you're gonna love it. And other than that, have a great day and peace.